So in this one, what are the effects of incorporating finger spelling and sign language on student recall of color words in a level 2 special education class? So here are your options, and we're asking for effects. So we're going to compare two groups. So we know that it has to be one of the first four. And well, it can't be the dependent one, and it can't be the one sample. Um, so we could choose a two sample t-test and only compare them at the end, or we could choose an ANCOVA or ANOVA and compare them at the beginning and the end. So I'm going to suggest that would be the good one for this one. And the cartoon, I hope you're looking at, saying that study finds 50% of people bored by statistics. Outrageous. What what kind of study would that be? Well, one sample if we were going to try to do something, because it's already been proclaimed that 50% of the people are bored by statistics. 100% of us have said ANCOVA or ANOVA. This would not be wrong if you just compared the two groups at the end. As part of the government's environmental policy, a 50% rebate will be applied to the cost of solar panels. You wish to determine whether family size and monthly mortgage will predict taking or declining this special offer of roof solar panels. Okay, so we're not comparing means in this one. So it has to be one of the bottom three. And we will have family size will be a value. We'll have monthly mortgage will be a value. Predicting whether we're going to take or decline the special offer divides it into two groups only. So once we collect our data, we will have in SPSS, say, a 1 for those people that took the offer and a 0 for those that did not. This is clearly logistic regression. There is no way that it could be multiple regression because the dependent variable would just be 1 or 0. Okay, so people whose parents are from different ethnic backgrounds are more likely to switch between identities than are those parents that are both from the same ethnic background. So I've actually put this in here because it's one of those questions that, wow, could I really collect this data? And if so, how would I collect it? Would I follow them around? Would there be a survey that would ask and say, do you switch between your parents' ethnic groups, or do you not? So I would find this difficult to collect the data and identify the different switching. Even finding the groups, I think, would be a bit of a challenge. That so now you're going to be randomly sampling, but you'd have to start somewhere and find kids that had parents from different ethnic backgrounds. Different, I mean, mom and dad were different, and then find the ones that parents were from the same ethnic background, and then do some sort of comparison on that. Maybe a chi-squared, but basically this was in here to show you that the stumbling block may be that you've got a research question that will be very difficult to collect the data. And I would say this is one of them. So I'm going to tentatively check this chi-squared button, but I think that question needs some serious thought. Okay, is the English language proficiency level of entry and demographic factors such as gender, age, and highest level of education attained predictors of marks earned during international students' first year of study? So again, we're looking for a relationship. We are not comparing means. So we must look at the bottom three again. And it cannot be logistic multiple regression unless we are going to say that instead of looking at the highest level of education attained, we're just going to say they either got a degree or they didn't, or they they got an associate diploma, or they got a certain score on SAT or they didn't. So that changes what this question is saying, because it's asking if it's going to be a predictor of marks earned. So whether the marks are a GPA or whatever, they're going to be marks. And so it will not be logistic. It will be multiple regression. And in it, we have a dummy variable in gender, and we have continuous variable in age, and maybe an interval in highest level of education. And multiple regression, quite happy to take all of that, and we will end up with a model that will have a coefficient in front of it and say, the older you are, the higher the grade we think you should get, a positive coefficient. The highest level of education you had before you came in should also be another positive um, coefficient. And gender, well, I will leave that up to you if you think that that plays a role. What are the effects of biology infused demonstrations on achievements and attitudes in junior college physics? We can see that we could do an ANCOVA where we tested them at the beginning and tested them at the end. Um, we could do a dependent um, set on this one where we had the students tell us all they knew about biology at the start and then what they knew about biology at the end. But that wouldn't really be logical, because hopefully when they take a biology course at whatever level, that they've taken it to learn something more. So the dependent t-test would not be good here. It might be good on attitude. That may work so that we could say that uh, attitudes it increased when the students had demonstrations included in the course offerings. So that's one. But for achievement, um, I think that I would stick with ANCOVA on here. Two groups. One group that got the biology infused demonstration, the other group that did not. And ANCOVA, just to be sure that the results of the infused demonstrations ended up improving the achievement level. And it wasn't just that that group, by a fluke, had a sample of students that were better at the subject anyhow. So my vote would be on Kovan here. You totally could do a two sample independent t-test where one you only worried about the end. If the sample was big enough, it probably you wouldn't have to worry. But if you were looking at, say, 40 or 50 students in each group, you would probably want to do the ANCOVA. Um, anyway, that also the achievement and attitudes in the same sentence. I would probably have written this as two different research questions, or at least when it came to the analysis, make it clear that I was going to do something on achievement and something on attitudes, because it definitely would be a comparison. Titanic survivors. Sources disagree on the actual number, ranging from 705 to 713. That's the survivors. And the question is, were all four classes on the ship treated equally when the rescue attempt began? So basically, we would have first class, second class, third class, and crew. And we would have dead or alive, basically. So we would be building a crosstab that would, or a matrix that would have four rows and two columns. And what we want to do is basically see if they're independent of each other, or the other way of looking at it was the same percentage of people in each class survive. And the only one that can do anything with such categorical data is this, because the question would be, what class was this person in? And they were either in first, second, third, or crew. The answers there are words, therefore categorical. So absolutely chi-squared. There's basically no other choice here. And once again, back to what I like to call quality control. Um, have you ever wondered if you're getting what you paid for? The 10th Duracell lasts even longer battery. Does the new Duracell battery last longer than the previous model? So again, we're comparing, and we're comparing time. So we're comparing mean, because we wouldn't take one battery and compare it to just one other. So we would have a random sample of the new batteries and the old batteries. And so we have two samples. It seems very clear that we would be doing a two sample t-test. We would again, we could use an ANOVA because it doesn't mind doing just two. So here we would have say 50 batteries, not the new last even longer type. The batteries, the 9th edition, we would find the mean length of time that these batteries last compared to the mean length of time that the new batteries last. And I've included this one because advertisement, very interesting. Lots and lots of law, you know, people filing and saying, look, you said this battery lasts longer, and it doesn't. And the only way that you can file a suit against this is that you've done the statistical method, the analysis that we're talking about here. So I've many of these. Is the amount of cream in the double creamed Oreos really double what we have in the single creamed Oreos? And again, it will be, we need to compare them to see if that's actually true. Or, Skittles said that we should get the same colors, same number of colors of the rainbow in each pack. So all of these are a relationship or comparing means.